to conduct a plumbing check, and I'm going to go get a little bit more water in my glass here. Then I'll be back in the shack. And 10 seconds ago, what was on my mind, I was going to say to you, kind of like left out of the memory bank for some bizarre reason. On the 368, I've been doing some research here and there. Some people have replaced the 4-125 modulators with 4-250s, which requires an upgrade, either an additional filament transformer or a beefed up, more beefy than stock filament transformer to support putting in 4-250s as modulators. And some people, Timtron has, from what I've read, substituted a pair of 4-400s for the 4-125s, and that took a even beefier transformer, obviously, I think. And then you got to put a fan or fans in, and then you have to somehow close off an area beneath the chassis. And I would have to show you a picture of what I'm talking about, but something to keep air moving up through the holes in the tube sockets to keep those puppies cool. So I think Don and I figured out the fan or fans we need, and I've got an idea on the fan mounting. His is different than mine. Excuse me. So I've got a little bit more noodling to do. And then once I have that drawn up and have Don took a look at it, maybe any other T368 owners I know have to see what they think of the way I'm doing it, anything I'm overlooking, things like that, then I'll proceed with it. And people who have done that tube pair of modulator swaps, either the 4-250s or the 4-400s, people with the 4-250s easily got to legal limit on mod peaks with reduced modulation level on the 368. And more importantly, they went from about slightly less than 100% forward-going modulation, positive modulation, and got up into the 140, 150, 160. Now Don and I, mostly Don, did what's called the RF deck modification on the 368, and that was supposed to lend itself to a bit more improvement in peak positive going modulation. People say it sounds fine, and then some say, why do you want to mess around with something that's working okay? Well, I'm curious. It's not super expensive. Be interesting to do. My back might be really torqued off at me afterwards when all the dust settles, but I'm curious to see what happens. So, all right there, Kevin. Stepping out of the shack, going QRT for just a few minutes. So if anyone in there jumps in, have at it, and I'll be back shortly, Kevin. KA2ZNI, QRT for a few, WN9D.
Yeah, that was W3MMR. Sorry, I having a malfunction. Good morning, W3MMR.
Good morning, Perry, and bring there a little bit. I should still be in here when you get back, but yeah, we'll catch you there a little bit. I might have to make a trip to the Oval Office myself. Good morning, Perry. Sounding good out here in Wisconsin this morning. Just shooting the breeze with Randy down there in Illinois. Haven't heard him on in a couple of weeks, so it's nice to hear him on. And Nice to hear you on this morning. Good signal. You're about 5:10 over 9 here. W3MMR and possibly others joining here this morning. KA2ZNI.
Yeah, make sure I got it.
K4FNY.
Yeah, there's Charlie. Good morning, Charlie. I'll turn it over to you here. I thought I heard somebody else in there as well. But nevertheless, good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Randy. Great signals from everyone here this morning. Everybody's at least 10 to 20 over S9. Here this morning in chilly southeastern Pennsylvania, 22 degrees. Not nearly as cold, I'm sure, as you guys in the Midwest there, and in Kentucky and Tennessee. Boy, you guys got the cold, and got a little bit of snow yesterday, the first snow of the year. Not too much, but definitely snowed for about an hour. But from it being 60 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning yesterday and it raining all morning, then it changed over to snow. We didn't get any accumulation. But nevertheless, it's starting early here in Chester, Pennsylvania. We'll keep things moving here quick and go over to you, Charlie. Good morning. Sounding great up here this morning. K4FNY, W3MMR.
Okay, W3MMR, KA2ZNI, K4FNY. Well, good morning. It's 29 degrees here. It's cooled down a little bit. We had kind of a windy day yesterday, and the wind died down and it got a little cool. So I'm guessing it's beginning our winter. I've already had enough winter. I'm ready for spring. Anyway, I'm running the VC610I this morning. In Studio A, I was setting up another operating position for my sideband rig. I'm labeling that Studio B. Separate the radios and give me a little more space here for the operating position, so I can have room to write for the key and stuff. So let's see how I'm doing up at Kevin. KA2ZNI. Go ahead, K4FNY.
Okay, very good, Charlie. I see the carrier, but didn't hear any modulation. Good morning to you, Charlie. Sounding good up here in Wisconsin this morning. K4FNY here in the group this morning, slowly assembling. KA2ZNI. Yeah, I was going to ask you how you made out with Studio B yesterday. Heard you mention that you were going to get another operating position going. The BC610 is doing a great job up here this morning into Wisconsin. I don't think I've ever been on your KA2Z page before. I was on actually yesterday looking up some call signs, and boy, you got a real nice layout down there. Really nice. It's nice to get on KA2Z once in a while and catch some pictures on there. It's nice to associate a face with a voice. So I think that's kind of why I was poking around down there and pulled up your shack. So real nice layout down there. And nice to hear you on Perry. Yeah, good signal this morning. Both of you are coming in here well over a 9. Both right about 5 to 10 over 9 here this morning. And yeah, I hear you on the cold and the snow there, Perry. Winter has definitely set in, and this came in up here in an ugly way. I think yesterday morning we were 4 degrees for a low, and the wind chill was -7. Last week we had the snow blower out, and this week so far not so much snow, but boy, it's just been a couple of real cold days. So I think after today here this morning, it's going to be the coldest it's going to be for a while as far as lows go. Tomorrow morning will be about double the temperature of what we are this morning for a low. I haven't checked here the last little bit, but I know about an hour and a half ago it was right about 12 degrees, so it's more than cold enough. And boy, I guess it's still yeah, it's on the chilly side even down there. Charlie, wow, 29 degrees down there. So I guess we're all kind of getting a bit of a cold snap right now. So let me send it back over to you, Perry. W3MMR here in the group this morning. Possibly others joining. KA2ZNI.
W3MMR.
Well, there's a bunch of folks in there. I heard Steve W2BNY. And I heard another 9 station in there, but I did not get the entire call. So after I get done here, I'll send it over to Steve. And Steve, if you want to drag your feet there, we'll see if we can get the other person in here. I might stick around. I may not. The group's already growing quite large. Here, because I think I heard about 3 breaking stations there. So if it doesn't get too big, we'll stick around here for a bit. But anyway, good morning to you, Steve and Charlie and Kevin and Randy, and good morning everybody once again. Charlie, the BC610 is sounding phenomenal as always. Big signal up here this morning, 15 over S9. That last transmission, real good on the cold temperatures down there. Yeah, I think everybody here in the east and in Midwest is dealing with the cold. And I think we set some records here with low temperatures overnight. So I know right up in northern Pennsylvania there, it's about 10 degrees up in the Poconos. So it's definitely a cold one. Not too much new to report here, just on the Anon this morning. Got the DX100 warming up on the other side of the room. Maybe we'll jump back on that a little bit later. Just gonna have a day off today. It's my scheduled day off, so we're gonna try to enjoy it the best we can. Put a new graphics card in my computer last night, in my PC here. Seems to be working really well. Put a new solid state hard drive in it 2 days ago, which was a very big improvement. My computer went from taking about a minute and 30 seconds to boot up, almost 2 minutes, to about less than 10 seconds to boot up. So it's been great. It's been a long time coming. So I'm glad I finally took the plunge and started upgrading things on this computer here, being as I use it so much for this radio and for recording purposes and such. It was about time it got a little attention. So we'll keep it moving along here. Over to you, Steve. Good morning. And sounding great down here in Chester, Pennsylvania. I'm guessing you're on the DX100. W2BNY from W3MMR.
Okay, Perry, W3MMR in the group. This is W2BNY, Steve in Buffalo. Yeah, everybody sounds pretty good this morning. Kevin up in Wisconsin, Randy, who is away from the mic there for a few minutes, and Perry and Charlie. Got the whole gang, well, almost the whole gang here. Well, this certainly is a good morning to throw another log in the fire and keep the hot coffee pouring in the cup. It's 17 degrees. And like a lot of you folks, day before yesterday, we got our first significant snowfall into Buffalo, about 8 to 10 inches. And of course, the old temperature is starting to plummet downward. And I guess it's that time of year, a little bit early. You know, everybody starts talking about, oh, it's going to be a hard winter because we got this early snow, and you just never know. You know, you can go through a week or two of this and then get 4 weeks of a thaw and back into winter and so on, so on, so on. So we're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. I know some of us think the lack of sunspots contributes to cold weather. There are some correlations to that back through the centuries. And but, you know, climatology is a very difficult thing to predict. They're pretty good in our weather forecasts, you know, that go out about a week, but when you start forecasting out a couple of months, things get a little bit chancy. Well, Perry, get that old DX100 fired up and on the air. That's what I'm using this morning, the DX100 into the SB220. And things are starting to warm up here in the shack. I got it, when I get down here, it's usually about 62 degrees in the shack. Now it's about 66, so it's a little bit more comfortable. I have to look at my list here. Charlie, Studio A and B, boy, that sounds pretty impressive in your new location. And it's great to have a little more space where you can spread out and have a few alternatives to the operating position. And Perry, congratulations on getting the new hard drive into the PC there. It sounds like you got that PC cranked up and firing on all cylinders. And Kevin, yeah, you beat us with the snow up in Wisconsin by a little over a week. So, but we promise here in Western New York we are definitely going to catch up. So I'm going to drag my feet. Kevin, if you don't hear anybody, pick it up. But I guess there was a K9 or a W9 station trying to check in. So anyway, off to you, Kevin. KA2ZNI and the group, W3MMR, Buffalo, New York.
I think K9HH is trying to jump in.
Alrighty, I might be too close to him. Randy, I know you're back. And if Bruce is in there, go ahead and pick you two guys, sort it out. Who goes first, and then throw it over to me there. KA2ZNI.
Nothing heard over this way.
This is WN9D. Not here tonight, KGR, but there were a few occasions with that. So, but, you know, anticipation of him and a few others also subsequently coming in. Your feet a little more. Cessation of transmissions. Okay. All right, Charlie and station. Buffalo PM. I wasn't sure if that was BMY or PMI. Randy, WN9D in Ottawa, Illinois, about 100 miles southwest of Chicago, where it's a sultry 13 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 10 degrees centigrade. I wonder if we'll ever see here, I know a bit further up north, it's still like minus 40 degrees centigrade and minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit coincide. Those are equal measurements of heat content, which is what temperature is. And that's the only time it occurs. Nova Scotia, I think years ago, he said he went walking outside one day, and I don't think this is chilly. Air temperature was something like minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that's pretty close, very close, to the point where carbon dioxide breathes in one standard atmospheric pressure. So that is cold. Yes, indeed, cold. Everyone in the sun and good and near this morning, fans and very nice shack. I guess I'll have to try. Yeah, in here in the shack early in the morning like I've been able to, but I've been in here several hours listening, and then picked up with Kevin. What was that, Kevin? About an hour ago, maybe thereabouts. Kevin and I have QSO'd many times here on 75-meter AM, but this is the first time in the early morning hours, as we called it in the Navy, dark 30. So with that, over to you, Bruce. Drag your feet, maybe KGR. W, and I'm running a T368. Listening on a Flex 5000 Alpha. About 350 watts carrier, peaking at about 1250. WN9D.
I don't hear anything. Is he in there?
Nope.
Band adapter, nor did I hear.
Okay, very good. Yeah, see, this time of the morning usually it's pretty rough between Bruce and I. Usually don't hear them because we're so close to each other. Yeah, WN9D here in the group this morning. KA2ZNI. Say good morning to Steve. Nice to hear you on this morning, Steve. And Randy, Steve's call is Whiskey 2 Bravo November Yankee, or Buffalo, New York. Steve is not too awful far from where I was born and raised at, so it's always nice to hear Steve on, and we've traded several stories over the area that he lives at, and of course where I was born and raised at. So nice to hear you on this morning, Steve. Apologize for the kitty here in the background. She's usually our outdoor kitty, but she gets this cold. We kind of bring her in, and she's getting to be more of a indoor cat than an outdoor cat, so she's kind of being a nuisance here this morning. She's a little wound up for whatever reason. So anyway, yeah, very good on all, and very good, Steve, on having your first official snowfall out there. I think we're unfortunately about 3 ahead of you this year. Believe me, that's not something I'm proud of. We had a snowblower out there last week doing some snow removal. But boy, the cold weather out here. It's really been chilly out here. Yeah, very good, Terry, on the solid state drive. Man, don't you love the solid state drive? I did our computers probably 3 or 4 months ago, and yeah, you gotta love those 8 and 10 second boot up times. Absolutely love the way this laptop performs though. And you know, now I don't cringe when I have to do a restart on something, you know, either installing a program or uninstalling. You must now restart your computer. You know, I don't cringe nearly as bad now because of the difference in the time it takes to boot things up. So it does make it quite nice indeed. So congratulations on that. And I think it's definitely a worthwhile investment to go to a solid state drive. Oh, let's see, and yep, Charlie sounding really good on the BC610 here this morning, getting into those wintertime conditions where I can finally hear the guys down south from up here in the Great White North. And yeah, it's great to hear you on this morning, Randy. It's you know, it's been a couple of weeks since I've caught you on, and I was surprised the first time I heard your call this morning, and I'm like, really? I've never heard Randy on this time of the morning. So that last transmission, you were probably between 20 and 30 over 9. So far hearing everybody quite nicely. I said I'm not sure about my Wisconsin neighbors. I don't think the band will be quite that short, but from Illinois out, nice conditions indeed. So send it back over to you, Perry. W3MMR here in the group this morning. The fine group, KA2ZNI, Central Wisconsin.
Actually, I'm going to send it down to Charlie. We kind of skipped over Charlie that last round. And then, Charlie, you go ahead and send it back to me. And then you'll just, I guess, Kevin, we'll just have you keep turning it to Charlie there. Sorry about that, Charlie. K4FNY, W3MMR.
W3MMR, in the group, K4FNY. Well, don't let it bother you, Perry. I was just sitting here reading the mail and listening with my feet propped up and a cup of coffee on the coffee warmer I have. And just listening to this fine AM. I tell you what, I enjoyed this. Kevin, you can keep that 4 degrees up there in Wisconsin, and don't send it down here to see us. We don't need it. Keep a hold of it up there. I guess 29 here. It'll be really about 27 here, which is seasonal, but it's still chilly when it's been warm. Perry, Anon sure sounds good as usual. Boy, those are nice sounding radios. And 5 minutes on your computer works. I had that same situation last week. We had my washer and dryer went on the blink. The washing machine started leaking. So I went over to the local appliance and electronics store here, Best Buy. We got a pair of washer and dryers. But I also picked up a wireless network card. Mine for the main computer up in the office was not contacting the AT&T router very well. It was dying on me, so I picked up another one that's a little bit got an external antenna. It works a whole lot better after leaving them about $40. You take it out the store. And Steve, the DX100 sure sounds good too. I like those. Those are heavy beasties, I tell you what. Talk about a boat anchor. I have SB220 here also over in the sideband in Studio B. And then I have the VFA over there, the chrome wool big FM amplifier. It has an 833 grid driven with 3,000 volts on the plate. And it can put out a right respectable single sideband signal when you're excited. This has a great deal of power to excite the 833, but so what? You know, it's a cheap fuse, and for the dollar, for the bang for the buck, you get the most out of one of those things. It's hard to find a KW2 as cheap as the old RCA 833. Well, I built it with commercial parts. I got a roller inductor out of the gate SW1 transmitter, and I had a big old Giddings vacuum variable to resonate everything. So it's just overbuilt. But I did that because of the way these champs are going up. I want to lay in something that wouldn't give me much trouble if the final failed. And Randy, your T368 is smashing in. I looked for one of those, and I decided they were too expensive for me to fool with. And I already had a BC610, and I sold the Liz, and then Liz sold it to the cabin. Well, Liz's estate did. But this particular BC610 was just on its way to the garbage dump. It was going to be thrown away. So I was lucky enough to intercept it. And we built some high voltage parts in the thing. All the high voltage cable was rotten. I did a little bit of cleaning up and recapped the drivers and the thing. And lo and behold, it just took off and started running. So here it is. So back up to Perry, W3MMR in the group, K4FNY.
Alright, let me make sure I got it here. I just switched over to the DX100. Let me make sure everything's where it needs to be. Alright, back to drive down a little bit. Oh, there we go. Alright, so this is the DX100. I hope you guys are hearing me okay. Doing about only about 110 watts of carrier per se. I love this rig. I fully restored it. It was my first venture with a boat anchor. It was given to me by Tony, NY3R, out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a friend of my father's, and he heard I was looking to get into boat anchors and said that he had a DX100 that I could have if I would come out and take the 2-hour each-way trip to go pick it up. So I immediately went out there. A few days later, he gave me 2 DX100s. One was a parts rig, and this one was in pretty much shambles when I got it. But I completely restored it, refinished the cabinet. Luckily, the faceplate, the front faceplate there was in really good shape. And then retubed the whole thing with new RCA, new old stock black plate RCA tubes. Did the gamut of audio modifications to it, including coupling caps, negative feedback around the audio stages. Turbo modded the mod transformer. Where it's Timtron came up with this mod. It's where you hook you basically hook the mod transformer up as an auto transformer, and it really helps out with positive peaks and really limits a negative peak clipping. When you get down to the baseline, I can get up to 140% with this thing and not hitting 100% on the negative side. What else did I do to this thing? Phew, it's been a while since I did the modifications to it. But I added push to talk. I fixed the bias on the modulators. Added a neutralization to the finals because I was getting some oscillation when I would unkey, so it would cause a hellacious feedback in my receiver when I would unkey. And did some other odds and ends to it. Added a 4-pin mic jack to the front, and just using a D104 with it. I don't do any no external processing, not externally modulated, nothing like that. And ever since I did the and I aligned it as well. And ever since I did everything to it, I've had no issues. This thing is always right where I leave it every time I turn it on. It's always on frequency. It doesn't drift. It's always where I set it. I could sit here and have this thing on for 2 hours and it won't drift. I love it, and I want to keep it vintage with a D104. I don't want to externally modulate this one. I'll do that down the line with another rig, but if I want to sound like a broadcast station, I'll go over to my Anon, But I like to keep things vintage here, and I'm receiving now in a Hammerlin HQ140X that I picked up. And I normally listen on an NC303 that I restored. All the pictures and stuff are on my QRZ page. You can find the pictures there. I don't think I have any pictures of the Hammerlin up or on my website on W3MMR.com, but I haven't. The Hammerlin is relatively new within the past month or so. So anyway, we'll keep things moving along here. Actually, I didn't. Hold on a second. Let me grab forgot my notes on the other side of the shack there, and I turn it over to you, Steve, the other man on the DX100. W2BNY, W3MMR.
K4GZQ. We got 2 buttons on.
Okay, Steve, W3MMR in the group, KK4GZQ, and Steve, I'm gonna try to send it to Randy, WN9D, because Randy picked it up before Kevin did, and I'll listen. And I don't think Kevin's hearing Randy, so I'll pick it back up and run it back up to Kevin if he doesn't hear Randy turning it over to him. So good morning, everybody. Perry, good signal from PA. I heard you first on the Anon and then over on the DX100, and both sound just absolutely fantastic. Steve, you're doing a good job from Cereal City this morning. I told my parents here the other day, we went out to dinner, about the city of Buffalo smelling like cereal. Anyway, I told her that you passed that on to me. Good morning to you, Steve, and have a good day. Kevin, good morning to you. Big signal from Wisconsin. And beautiful audio as always. And good morning to Randy, WN9D. And Randy, I haven't heard you in a while. It'll be good to hear another transmission from you. And Charlie, the 610 sounds excellent this morning. And I'm working on getting this REA modulation monitor going. And it looks like I'm going to need a resistor. Steve sent me some information from Web Associates WA1QIX. And I need a certain resistor. And he says I can pick up these little patch cords, that stereo patch cords, just about anywhere. Walmart, I think, even carries them. So with that, let me send it over to Randy this morning, and I'll listen out and see if you can make the transition up to Kevin, Randy. And I never did hear Bruce N9KGR. So I haven't had any coffee yet. I'm going to walk in here and grab a cup and listen to you guys go at it. WN9D with the group. Good morning, Randy. KK4GZQ.
Okay, we had a free station in here. I didn't catch the call. Kevin, Wisconsin, Kevin CNI did. All right, understand. It's WN9D with KK4GZQ in the group. Good morning, Kevin. Strapping signal in here. When you broke in, you were about 25, 30 over. You did shifting your mass transmission. You were averaging 15 to 20, but strapping signal Q5 copy nonetheless. I haven't been on 75 meters this time of day or night, morning, whatever you want to call it. The witching hour. And almost undercaught, rounded up to 4 years, 2 months shy of 4 years. I'm rounding it up. CNI, Kevin. When you said you heard me calling you in response to your CQ a little earlier, you think to yourself, that's Randy? He's never on at this time. Well, that's true. This is the second time in 4 years, and when I heard you calling CQ, that's when I powered up the 368, and it had to go through its little sequence of things for a good 20 or 30 seconds before I could throw the VFO on, the B plus secured, the home in on frequency here on the pan adapter, and then I gave you a call. So it appears desired effect was achieved nonetheless. Good to hear you, Kevin. Good to hear you indeed. It has been a while. So, with that, I think I'm going to go into listening mode. I've been in the shack this morning for a few hours, maybe more than a few hours, because I couldn't fall asleep last night for some reason. Darn, I don't understand it. I'm having more trouble sleeping in retirement than I did when I was working gazillions of hours a week supporting maintenance shutdown outages. So, with that, I believe I sent it back to GZQ Kevin, and then you'll hand it off to ZNI Kevin. So, good to see you all, and drag your feet, because there was a station that broke in and I did not copy the call. Have a good day all. Stay warm. KK4GZQ in the group. WN9D.
Okay, Randy, WN9D with Victor Echo 3 Papa, Rick up in Ontario. Morning, Rick. Sounding great down here in the Lexington, Kentucky area this morning. I'll send it on up to Kevin, and Kevin can get Rick and send it on down to Charlie. KA2ZNI to pick it up. KK4GZQ in the group. Good morning, 7-3 to those who've signed.
You were the last one I expected to come back at that time of the morning. You just catching you late morning, early afternoon down on 3870. So I'm glad you, kind of at your expense, but I'm kind of glad you didn't sleep this morning. So it was nice to have a nice QSO with you. I'll tell you, yeah, we were on for, I don't know, probably an hour or better before anybody else popped in there. So it's nice to catch up and bounce things around. And boy, nice signal this morning too, Randy. I'm so used to the longer band conditions this time of the morning that I really didn't expect persons from Illinois to be rolling in as good as they are. So nice job. And the K368 was just strapping in here. Boy, at times you were, man, I don't know, 30, almost 40 overnight. So maybe there'll be a few mornings you can't sleep during midweek, and we'll probably be in here to bounce it around with you. So 705, yeah, Steve, nice to hear you on this morning out of Buffalo, New York. Pleasure. Always a pleasure to say that call sign. And the 100 is definitely doing you justice there. Really nice signal, nice audio. And maybe next couple of weeks, or maybe we'll catch you on there just a little bit earlier in the morning and can bounce it back for you a couple of times. I know the conditions are kind of iffy between us at times, but you were certainly strapping in here this morning, no problem. And Perry, sounding good on the DX100. The band did change just a little bit. I kind of lost you, but I picked you up there on the Massachusetts weather. And heard your entire transmission there. So it sounds like you got a dandy there with the 100 and the way it performs for you. And Charlie, yeah, we'll I don't mind keeping this weather up here, but I certainly wouldn't mind if you sent some of your warmer weather up in this direction. Boy, anything's got to be a step forward from the stuff we've had up here the last couple of days. So, it's hard to believe that tomorrow morning our lows are going to be double of what they are this morning. So we're headed back toward some more mild temperatures. Certainly doesn't hurt my feelings. And nice to hear you on this morning, Kevin. Great signal up there. You're 10 to 20 over 9. Sounding mighty fine business up here, and always nice to hear you on. Very, very seldom I ever get on here this time of the morning and not hear you strapping in here. Summertime, and we had some weird conditions this summer. There was a few times where things were a little rough, but for the norm, you've always got a commanding signal up in this direction, and very good on getting the mod monitor up and running. And like I said, they're in my inbox, so definitely nice things going and be a nice little addition to the shack for you. So I didn't hear anybody else breaking in there. I didn't hear any other stations. And I think, Kevin, you told me to turn it back over to Charlie down there. And if I misunderstood you, I apologize. So back over to you, Charlie. K4FNY here in the group this morning. The fine group. Everybody's sounding quite nice. KA2ZNI, Central Wisconsin listening.
KA2ZNI, K4FNY. Got a nice bass line. I got all of that. That was good. GZQ and can't talk to him, so he probably doesn't hear me either. But, Randy, I tell you, I've had the same issue with sleep here. But mine's a neuromuscular problem. It's not anything else. I woke up about 2 o'clock this morning. I went downstairs and got a little water from the Tylenol. And I was able to get back to sleep for an hour or two. So I started to come down here in the shack and turn the rig on. I guess I should have done that. But I hope that improves. Randy, that's miserable. Not getting to sleep. But don't blame it on retirement, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to go back to WORK. But anyway, let me turn it around here to Perry, and I'm going to get a cup of coffee. So I'm like an old buzzer transmission and talk about it on the phone. But I will be back. W3MMR in the group. K4FNY. Go ahead, Terry.
K4FNY W3MMR. Just switch back over here to the Anon. I got some things to do on the computer, so it makes it easy here with this SDR. Well, thanks for the compliments on the DX100, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love that rig. It's definitely a boat anchor. It's a very heavy rig, that's for sure. But 7-3 to you, Steve. W3MMR. I completely lost you here at the QTH, that last transmission, but was able to pick you up on the QIX web SDR there. The band is definitely doing its shift. It seems to do this every day. The band is in really good shape, and then all of a sudden it goes really long. For the folks here in the Northeast, I lose everybody in the Northeast right before sunrise. I lost Kevin out there in Wisconsin as well. But it started to come up towards the end of his transmission there, but was able to again to pick it up on the QIX web SDR. But Kevin GZQ, you're just absolutely bombing in up here this morning. Hope you got the cup of mud there, the cup of bean, and ready to get your day started, Kevin. But sounding good as always this morning. And Randy, still a good signal up this way. A little light at the beginning of your last transmission, but you really came up there towards the end as well. So the band is dancing around a bit, but nevertheless, I'm not having any issues here with anyone this morning. So we're gonna just sit back here, sip on the mud, let the band roll on. And good morning to you, Rick VE3PP. Up there in the cold country of Canada. Nice and I know it's a lot colder up there than it is here. 21 degrees right now. Temperatures dropped 2 degrees since I've been on the air. So it's a little chilly here this morning, but I don't think it's going to get out of the 20s. So let's see. Steve signed. So down to you, Kevin. KK4GZQ. In the fine group. W3MMR, back on the Anon.
And it sounds good too, Craig. I'm sorry. Gosh, Perry, I'm not thinking. W3MMR with group with VE3PP. Let's send it up to Rick. VE3PP there in Canada, Ontario. Good morning, Rick. KK4GZQ in the group.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Perry. Anybody else that's been stopping my little pistol here. Well, it is cold up here this morning. 12 Fahrenheit. It's a little nippy. I went to switch my remote coax relay this morning to go to 30 meters for a minute, and it gets really cold sitting out there on the tower, it won't switch. So I gotta figure out a way. I think I gotta put that thing in a box with some insulation and a light bulb or something in there. I know one year I brought it inside the shack, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a remote relay when you got it inside the shack, but that's what I ended up doing. So it does that when it gets really cold. Anyways, everybody's sounding pretty good here. And I was on last night there, had a quick QSO with Don down there, K4KYV. He was down on 78 there, holding court. And that's about it. It's light and cold up here this morning. So I don't know, I don't think I'll be doing much today. I'll be taking it easy here and maybe lay down and have a nap here later on. So I'm going to run upstairs here and say good morning to my wife. I'll be back down. If I miss a rotation, that's fine. I don't really have much from up here. So Kevin, I'll let you direct it to whoever it goes to. And good morning, everybody. I'll be listening along. V3PP.
Okay, Rick. Very good. VE3PP with the group, KK4GZQ. And good signal down here this morning, Rick. You're 10 over. And the T4XC sounding good. And I need to get mine back on the air and run it some, as a matter of fact. It hadn't had much airtime in a while. It or the R4C receiver. And I love that receiver, Rick. And before I forget, if you ever need any parts, or if you need the whole outside relay box, I'll call it, the control unit out there for the Ameritron, I've got one. I don't have the inside unit, the switch, that switches them, but I've got the relay box that goes out on the tower. I've got a tilt-over crank-up tower out here that I'm yet to still try to get up and on the property here, but strapped to the side of it is one of those relay boxes, Rick. So if you need any parts for it or anything, or the whole thing, I'll send it to you. No problem. And Randy, WN9D signed out. He and Steve both. And good morning and best 73 to both those guys. And Randy was talking about not being able to sleep last night, and I too had some problems. Was up on about 3 occasions, and the last time I can remember it was about 1:30 this morning. And I don't know if it has anything to do with it. People try to blame it on the moon or whatever, but the moon sure was about as bright as I've seen it out here last night with a full moon. It was very pretty. Anyway, and Charlie, I need a 24K 3-watt non-inductive resistor. I don't think I've got anything like that here. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But I need one of those, and I need, looks like I'm going to need a couple of those standard, the cables are 2-channel stereo shielded. He says that's important. But they go from the RF pickup unit back to the software interface. So I've got that to get together, but I can get that other stuff if I can find this resistor somewhere. I'll be in business, or either a couple of resistors to make up 24K 3-watt non-inductive, and he says it's very important that it's non-inductive. Anyway, I don't want to keep it here that long. I want to pass it on around. Let's see, Rick, Charlie. Kevin, comes your way, Kevin. I didn't even say much to you, but great signal down here this morning, and I'm still kind of getting over the job I did day before yesterday, Kevin. It took its toll. There's no doubt about that. 9 hours on the machines without barely even stopping. It was a hell of a day, but I got paid well, so I'm not complaining one bit. KA2ZNI with the group KK4GZQ. Okay, and there's Bruce in 9KGR, Kevin.
Okay, very good. Well, I know Bruce started doing that earlier. I can't hear Bruce. I see just a little bit of the stereo was too close. So, Kevin, why don't you send it to Bruce and then throw it on over to me. KA2ZNI. I think Bruce turned there.
Yeah, okay, real good. Bruce, pick it up, and then you can send it back to me, and I'll flip it to Kev. Good morning, Bruce. Big signal from Wisconsin this morning. N9KGR with the group, KK4GZQ.
I worked there. Yeah, because you're Kevin Navy, KA2ZNI. So that's different. All of it. Good room. Back to the KK4GZQ.
25 over down here, Bruce, and back to you, Kevin. KK4GZQ. Go ahead, Kev.
Okay, thank you, Kev. Thank you for the handoff there. Yeah, thank you. Thanks too close yet this morning. KK4GZQ in the group. KA2ZNI. Yeah, very good. Yeah, you saw just a wee little bit of interior in there. Too close to Bruce, but good morning to Bruce there. And maybe next go around or so we'll hear him in there. But I'm going to go ahead and make this my last one here for the morning, at least for a little while. I need to get some breakfast, and oh, I hate to admit this, but I already went through one pot of coffee this morning, so I'm going to start another pot of coffee and get a little bit of breakfast in me. But I've been up since about 10 or 11 o'clock last night, unusually scheduled. And I started rolling out of steam there, Kevin. I sent you that message, and then I got my second wind when Randy jumped in there, so then kind of didn't count my second wind, so now I'm wide awake. But yeah, nice to hear you in there this morning. And yeah, we sent a couple of those resistors here. I've just dropped one in an envelope and send them off to you. So we don't get anything like that around here. Usually, anytime that I work on anything, I never have any surplus. I always have to order as I go type of thing. So anyway, that's the story there. Or I'll just send them right off to you. Good morning to Rick. I don't hear Rick in there at all. Conditions are kind of shifting around a little bit. Good morning to Rick up there, VE3PP. And Terry's kind of fading out on me, and Charlie was a little bit stronger that last go around, so his hand is definitely bouncing around here a little bit. So I will do it, bouncing around here, I guess, and then start backing on her here as we get into the daylight hours. And yeah, Kevin, I was hoping you get a little more rest last night. I know yesterday morning, I was listening to you on the air for the first couple of transmissions and boy, you said tired. I mean, just really tired myself. So ready to go again. But glad you have some jobs coming in, and I did a couple of days ago. So thanks for letting me know up here. I think you probably have a tough time keeping that water moving. Man, was it cold up here yesterday morning. Reminded me of January or February. Not November. Before Thanksgiving. So anyway, maybe this cold snap will work its way out of the system, and it'll be a little more reasonable here for a couple of more weeks anyway. So with that, I'll say 73 for you, Charlie. 73 Perry. 73 for you, Kevin. Nice to hear you on this morning. 73 Rick. It'll thinking, Bruce isn't going to hear me, but 7-3 to Bruce. Maybe I'll hear him on a little bit later as band conditions shorten up. Okay, I'm going to go grab me some coffee, a quick breakfast, and I might poke back in here after a little bit if anybody is still around. That's nothing else. I'll keep some creative group. So nice to hear everyone on this morning. Appreciate y'all letting me get for a little bit bouncing around, and I'll turn it over to I'm not in here a little later on. So, Charlie, 4FNY to take it. See y'all later. KA2ZNI. You're the road from 7-3.
Okay, Kevin, KA2ZNI. K4FNY. 7-3 was Kevin. Have a good day. Dave, it was good to hear you in here. Your signals held up through all the QSOs. It's unusual to hear, but you were S9 plus just now, so you got the conditions start changing around here on us a little bit. Sun will be coming up soon. Kevin, I just looked through GZQ, Kevin. I just looked through all my power resistors. I don't have anything like that. Non-adjustable resistor over 2 watts is going to be tough to find. My best solution is to go to Mauser. And what I do, Kevin, is I've got a hard copy of their catalog. When I go in the search bar for Mauser webpage, I put that part number in there and what's on top. But you try and do it the way they want you to do it, you'll never find anything. Their search engine stinks. So you might try Mauser. You can have them in here the next day. They're real quick. They can do 1 or 2 day delivery. And Kevin, I meant to ask you, do you have a schematic for the 614 speed amp? I've got the complete book on the 614 on disc, and I can send it to you electronically. You'll like it if you like it, and print out the manual. I didn't know if you had it or not. You're going to get in there and do any kind of mods. I never did sit here if you turn the clippers off either, that thing. Audio processors that it has, mine are off. I did that in the QSO with Mr. Bell before he became a silent key. So, let me turn it on around here to Perry, up there on that marvelous DX100. W3MMR, K4FNY.
All right, I'll hop back on the DX100 here for my last transmission. The band's kind of shifting around here. I got to call my son and wish him off to school. My son lives in South Carolina, right outside of Charleston in Summerville, South Carolina, and I call him every morning on FaceTime and wish him off to school every day. So technology is great. You know, I couldn't imagine not having this technology and living so far away from my 8-year-old son. It would be it wouldn't be nearly as easy. It's not easy by any means, but it definitely eases the pain a little bit there. So just I'm gonna wish him off to school, and I know it's cold down there for him as well, so I'm going to make sure he's bundled up before he goes out to the bus there. But nevertheless, everybody's sounding good here this morning. Good signal from you, Rick, about S9 to 5 over S9 here this morning. Not real strong, but was able to copy a Q5 here with no problem. And Kevin and Charlie and both Kevins, real good signals. But Kevin down GZQ, you're the channel master up here this morning, about 25 over S9 there. So 7-3 to you, Kevin out in Wisconsin, and 7-3 to everybody else. We're going to get on out of here, listen out for a little while. It is my day off, so maybe when after I wish him off to school and can get a bite to eat here. Maybe if there's still a group in here, I'll jump back in. But I think it goes back over to you, Kevin. Again, I didn't grab the damn the notepad. It's still on the other side of the shack, and the D104 doesn't stretch over there. So down to you, Kevin. Great hearing you guys this morning, and we'll talk to you guys again real soon. 7-3, KK4GZQ in the group from W3MMR.
Heard another breaking station other than Bob, KN4HH. Let's do it this way, guys. Morning, Perry. Have a great day, buddy. Nice to hear you in there, and hope Dad's doing well. Get the kids off on the young one off on the bus and headed to school, and have a good day off. I heard you say that. I'm actually going to run some estimates today, but I'm off too. Bob, why don't you go ahead and pick it up, KN4HH, and send it up to Rick, VE3PP there in Ontario, and Rick can try to send it over to Bruce, N9KGR, and I'll just stand by in here, and if there's any relays between them, I'll try to help out. KN4HH with the group. Good morning, Bob. Great to hear you. Big signal. KK4GZQ.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Good morning to you and everybody on the group this morning. KK4GZQ, KN4HH, Bob in Peachtree City, Georgia. Okay, good deal. Beautiful signal. You're 30 over, Kevin. Just a marvelous signal. Audio sounds great and fine, upstanding signal. Charlie, good to hear you this morning. We've got long and short conditions this morning, so I'm sure glad to hear you, Charlie. And IQSL, what you see about the Mauser. Good luck with Mauser. Mauser did you keep both. Never let me down. Always very fast shipping, and it works out well. Perry, good morning to you. Great to hear you. Great signal. Hopefully, I probably won't hear you directly, but maybe I'll hear you check in on 14330 this evening. That's always, I always look forward to that. Hopefully, I'll be able to check in with Clark out in Arizona again this week. Okay, it is a whopping 23 degrees here this morning. Rick, this is your kind of weather up there in Canada. We weren't ready for this, but nonetheless, we've got 23. High's going to be 48 today. So let's see how she goes, Rick. Victor Echo 3 Papa. This is KN4HH. Good morning, Rick.
Yeah, good morning. Well, I think we're supposed to have a high of 28 today. Well, it's not going to be any too warm up here today. We got a little bit of snow on the ground at my location here, but only about an inch. So I got a message from a friend of mine that lives over at Grand Bend, which is kind of northwest of me, and he had about 14 inches yesterday. He got hit pretty hard by squalls coming in off Lake Huron there, so I'm far enough south that those things usually don't get at us. And it's a good thing. I did go out and get my snow blower ready to go though yesterday. Filled it up. First time I run it empty in the spring, so I don't get any problems with the carb. Excuse me, gumming up from the gas sitting in it. When I bought that blower, they had a heck of a time getting it running. They had to replace the carb because it's been up at another dealer, and they had gas sitting in it for a couple of months, and it gummed the carburetor up. So they cleaned it, but they ended up replacing the carb on it. So Aaron's recommends that you drain that gasoline out of it in the spring. So I just run it empty. Filled it up, primed it, pulled the cord, first pull, away it went. So it's good to go now. It can snow all at once, and I can get out there and clean the driveway out. I don't shovel anymore, except a little bit on the back deck there. And Kevin, I'm actually on my TR4 here, transmitting on my TR4 and listening on my SX100 here. That's what I got going here now, because I wanted to put my C-line back together. And the TR4's got the capability of operating like the T4XC. You can, it's got the receive transceiver switch on it. and it's got the mute jack off the back and the receiver antenna jack off the back. So that's what I'm running here now is my transmitter. And like I said, I'll look around here, but I'm in no big hurry to find something. This thing works okay for all the AM I'm doing. And yeah, Perry, he said it was 23 over there too, so he's a little warmer than what we are. This is actually pretty cool for this time of year here. My golf course is normally open here till this coming Sunday, but it's not going to be this year. And normally, we can get out and play golf. I've played a lot of, over the years here, played golf during this week, but not this week. So I don't know. They keep talking about this global warming, but I'm not seeing any side effects of it up in my area here so far in November. Well, I'll turn it over to Don there. I think it goes to I'm not sure about the name, but I wrote the call down, N9 KGR. If you can copy VE3PP.